What's up, traders? My name is Vincent Mokotedi, the founder of Vinboss Signal Factory with over 7 years of proven trading results. I am the only trader who trades publicly with my community. Every single trade, wins and losses included. No hiding, no manipulation, just transparency and real trading results. Furthermore, I would like to tell you that I've already built a Telegram and a WhatsApp community filled with serious traders only. The best part is it's free to join. All you need to do is number 1, register with XNS under our exclusive link. Number 2, verify your trading account. Number 3, fund at least $100. Some traders are funding $1,000 to enjoy higher profits. When you fund, you will get to receive the following that I will mention. Firstly, it will be the weekly Forex forecast of all the major pairs, gold and silver included, daily signals and analysis for London and New York sessions, fundamental news breakdown on major economic events. You will get again a course called Beginner to Pro Ultimate Course for both beginners and struggling traders seeking consistency. Proven strategies tested and verified by myself and other professional traders. One-on-one mentorship where you can request personal attention to deepen your price action and signal understanding. But that's not all. If you are not registered with us or you're not ready to switch over to XNS as of yet, you would still receive daily analysis of 6 pairs only, which includes the euro dollar, the pound and the dollar, the euro Canadian dollar, the pound Canadian dollar, the euro and the pound, and last but not least, the US dollar and the Canadian dollar. You will only receive the London session analysis only. That is a limited access that we give to those who are not with us. So don't miss out on all the full access to premium trading education, signals, and membership. After funding, send proof of registration to WhatsApp 068 060 5332 for instant access to everything. What's up, traders? It's Friday and there will be no NFP today ever since 2018. What? Yeah, let's get into it before we get into the technicals. First of all, most of you might have heard about the government shutdown happening on the 1st of October, which delays some of the data collected from the Bureau, of course. So with that being said, traders, this is bad and good at the same time. It's bad because we will not be having NFP today, or tripling our account is not on the menu today, but might still be. And it's good because there will be volatility for sure. So with that being said, traders, it is something to watch today, of course, and I'm very sure that all the trusted sources have just said the NFP will be delayed today. So yes, I might just explain a little bit before we go to the technicals. So technically, we look like we've just made exactly what the market has been looking for, of course, which is a retest of this second supply zone and a continuation to the downside. But this might be risky as this might continue to the upside because of the US government shutdown and likely the dollar getting some bearish movement from this. So with that being said, traders, this is how it often works. Data collection often requires funding, staffing, computing infrastructure under federal budgets, of course. But we are not going to have this since we are having a government shutdown. And by data collection, I'm talking about surveys and monthly questionnaires, etc. During a shutdown, such operations may be suspended, scaled back, or especially if staff are prolonged or operating under stricter or expected versus non-expected rules like the NFP. This simply means that we will not be having any of the releases like NFP because it needs infrastructure and the government has shut down. Yes. And some essential statistical activities might continue, but many non-essential ones are being put on hold. Now, the ones that are continue, they are depending on the agency and the classification, of course. And with that, I am very sure that the non-farm payrolls and the job releases is postponed or delayed. The CPI and inflation data are often coming from the Bureau and the Labor Statistics and the Bureau of Economic Analysis. And it will be, of course, delayed. So let's discuss this further. Now, if you were not able to catch this from here, like I didn't catch this, I was not looking for this yesterday on Thursday. Remember, I was waiting for Friday news. So, with that being said, traders, this in itself came to this. We do have a sell stop right here and a small stop loss right here to continue to the downside because technically we are still structured like this, but we will have to, move carefully with our pre-existing plan. So with that being said, going to the downside is still an ideal scenario, but going to the upside might still come in as a result of the shutdown that I've just explained right now. And with that being said, traders, let's go to the pound and the dollar to see exactly what we have in store and how it could react to the same news of the government shutdown. And traders, with the pound and the dollar, very simply put, we are now structured to the downside after this and the continuation right here. Now, this is still imminent to the upside. This is still imminent, but the only thing that we will be focusing on is selling. Now, the reason why I still say today I mentioned that the dollar can lose more strength is that this has happened back in 2018. And in 2018, what has happened is the dollar had lost uh, most of its gains or was hit by the bear pressure during this time. And back then, the dollar was a bit stronger than it was now. Right now, it's facing further rate cuts. Employment data is very low, so nothing else is working. So I think this might be the greatest sell if it does happen. We need to stay in the market, pay close attention from the next 2 weeks to see how long the shutdown takes and how can it affect the dollar. But I think it's going to affect it negatively, but technically we are still in a sell like this one, so we are now going to put our stops to break even. Of course, as soon as we reach this level stops to break even and start looking for those uh break even movements to the upside, the pullback, and a continuation to the upside. This would be an ideal scenario. But if we do continue to keep going to the downside and the dollar gets momentum or strength from this or during this government shutdown, then no problem. We'll still be following the strategy because after all, we are still structured to the downside. Now let's go to the pound and the Canadian dollar. Traders, with the pound and the Canadian dollar, what I would like to see is a retest of this previous new high or just the retest like this one of 0.87 1.8740. This would be a fantastic place to look for buying opportunities, just like this one here that we did mention after the bounce. Or if we do not get any of these, any bullish continuation patterns that we will get from this will be our way to go and take 1:3. Now this currency pair right now is not affected by what we call the government shutdown. Both currencies, their government is still working, but of course, based on where the money would go, it would favor the pound more than it favors other currency pairs like the NZD, like the Australian dollar, but those are currently strong. Remember, during the shutdown of 2018, what we did see back then was the commodities rallying, making gaining momentum over the majors. So with that being said, traders, this is what I still want to see. If that happens, the commodities do get more momentum, we will go back to this demand zone, of course, and from next week we will start selling again. Now this is what we do expect. This is what we see from uh, our daily analysis. So with that being said, traders, let's go to the euro and the pound to see what it has in store for us. Traders, on this currency pair, we are still structured to the downside, of course, and yesterday we did not get the bearish patterns and formations that were valid enough on this weekly break of structure at 0.8708, but that changes nothing. We are still structured to the downside. This is why we are here at the first demand zone when you are buying. The second demand zone when you are buying is 0.8716. The second one is 0.8722. Now with that being said, I'm still looking for selling opportunities to continue to the downside with the pound, and I'm not looking for any buying opportunities, of course, in here. So with that being said, I did not want to explain much. We've already explained much, but if it does, please, I'm trying to keep the video short. If it does fit your trading plan, then after this we will be going down and even deeper to the downs of this level, because of every time the market reaches 0.8742, which is the daily supply zone, the market tends to fly down without any waiting or any hesitation. Now this is what I do expect to see, and with that being said, traders, let's go to the US dollar and the Canadian dollar. Beautiful traders, what I would like to explain was very simple. I was not willing to buy this as long as it didn't reach my intended target. And yes, it did have a strength to the upside. Of course, this currency pair, which is the US dollar and the Canadian dollar. So now what do I expect? I expect to see a bounce from this and a continuation to the upside to make that 1:3 risk to reward ratio, to retest this previous last week's high, to make this, after making this new high, then a continuation to retest this and a continuation to the upside to make 1:3 risk to reward ratio. Now this is a perfect setup for us to go to the upside, since the Canadian dollar is also weak. Since the Canadian dollar is also weak, it's facing uh pressure to the downside. So this would be great only if the dollar persists with its strength, but if it does not, then remember, this is the daily liquidity zone. Of course, we might just come below it with strong momentum. And I wish I could discuss gold with you, but it's not part of the plan. But we've been having good signals on gold. Most of you should just go and check gold from the beginning of the week. This has been a fantastic signal on gold, buying gold from this week. So with that being said, traders, thanks and happy trading today. Make sure you like this video, subscribe, or tell someone who you think should know about this video. Thanks again. Bye bye.